All right, so welcome out to the HomeLord Podcast. Obviously, I'm Justin. This is Joel, and today we have Brennan with us. Brennan, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm 27. I am married. Me and my wife just bought our house back in February. Currently, kind of work as a ski patroller at Woodward, and my wife's a nurse, and that's
just living the dream, huh? Very cool. Well, welcome to the podcast, man. We're really looking forward to kind of getting your experience on house hacking and the whole HomeLord system, property manager, all of the stuff that's been thrusted on you since February. So we'll go ahead. We'll dive in. How this is normally structured is we ask about 10 questions at the beginning, and then we transfer over to just kind of getting to know you and your situation a whole lot better.
Yeah, absolutely.
So super low key. But basically, the first question that we love to ask is, how did you even learn about house hacking?
So good question. I think the first time I ever learned about house hacking was actually in high school. My mom, we had actually moved with my mom to a new house, and there was a little like casita on the side, and she actually rented that out to help kind of offset our rent for this house. So that was one of the first times that I had been exposed to it. Yeah.
Wow. Very cool. That's a pretty cool first exposure.
Yeah.
I like how it's called a casita. That sounds way cooler than ADU.
Yeah.
Right.
So why house hacking? Because you could have bought a townhome or a condo, but you chose to house hack instead.
Yeah, I think I had gotten exposed to it a little bit more, like through reading books and listening to podcasts and stuff like that, and understood like really how much it can offset your mortgage. And me and my wife were looking at purchasing a house. I actually had been looking at purchasing a house before my wife, because I'm a veteran and I got the VA loan. So I figured, why not try to get into a house? And if I can rent it with people, then that would be a great, but as things kind of became a reality with me and my wife, we were just realizing like it's going to be pretty hard to afford a home, even at a low price and a smaller home. And I had always been interested in being able to rent a basement or rent something else to kind of help offset that mortgage. And then it was really kind of through Justin that I learned just how much of your mortgage can get kind of pieced away from that that ADU.
Cool. Yeah. No, that's awesome. So now you've been in your house since February, right?
Yes.
What has been the most interesting thing that you've experienced as a first-time landlord?
Most interesting thing. I think the most interesting thing to me is just kind of how close we've gotten with the people that rent our basement. It's three girls, and we've had them up for dinner plenty of times. They come and hang out whenever we have people over. My wife has even helped take one of the girls to work because she got hit by a car one time.
Wow.
Yeah, so she
All
actually
right.
went and helped her and took her to the hospital, got her all checked out, and then took her back to work.
Jeez.
So
Utah
we've
drivers
actually,
for
yeah,
the
I
win.
know, seriously. But no, it's really thoroughly surprising like how close we've actually gotten to the people who are rent our basement.
Oh, that's awesome. I am such an introvert. That's great.
Yeah.
Say, you just took being a landlord to a whole different level. That's awesome. And, we work with a lot of people who, when we talk about house hacking, there's this whole concept of tenants. Now, your relationship with your tenants, you've made it in a way that it's very positive.
Yes.
They know they can reach out to you. What would you say to someone who's like very nervous about having tenants live next to them or below?
Yeah. So I think honestly, in talking to you, I think it was you pointed out the idea that like we were all kind of tenants at one time, and I was a good tenant, and I think that it's very real and very possible to find good tenants. It's very far and few between. I feel like you find a bad tenant.
Yep.
But they always get talked about the most, I feel like.
It's because those are the best stories.
Yeah.
But yours is cool. Someone got hit by a car, which is sad, but you helped them out.
Yeah. My wife was just happened to be home, and I guess her sister was out of town, and she asked if we could go help her out, and she went and picked her up, took her to the hospital, got her checked out, and kind of helped her out.
Gosh.
So yeah.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So what's been the most challenging thing for you as you've kind of stepped into the role of landlord, property manager? What's been the most difficult thing for you?
difficult. I don't know if it would necessarily be difficult, but it's just staying on top of everything. Anytime anything happens, we're trying to be quick to respond, trying to be quick to resolve it and find a solution for whatever issue they might have. That I think that's probably the most difficult thing. Is it does take a bit of a time commitment and trying to dedicate yourself to allowing these people to have a place to live. That's good.
So now I actually have something to add to that, because people who watch this, they're not going to know this, but I obviously know this. Your air conditioning went out this summer, didn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
It's been a hot summer.
Yeah.
So as a landlord, where you're trying to be very quick and prompt to get these things addressed and fixed and make sure your tenants are happy, how did you handle that situation, and how did your tenants kind of respond to what you did?
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually didn't, the first time that it went out, we didn't really realize until we came home from work. And we both worked till late. So we didn't come home till like maybe 8 o'clock at night, and our house was 82 degrees or something like that. And we were just kind of miserable. And so first thing we did was we texted and called and made sure that they were comfortable downstairs. And we let them know what was happening on our end. They actually said in the basement it was actually rather cool that they didn't really notice anything at all, which was really nice on our end, because we were the only ones suffering, not necessarily our tenants.
I'm surprised your phone didn't blow up first, saying that the AC is
so we were
hot.
we were willing to kind of just suck it up a little bit, and then we just let them know when we could get a technician out there. They're going to have to come downstairs, because the condenser unit was downstairs in their little apartment. And we just coordinated with them on times that worked, when they were available and stuff like that. And then honestly, on our end, is we just kind of problem solved to allow our unit to get cool enough where the AC wasn't like overworking itself and causing it to freeze up or do whatever. So
you mentioned this earlier, but people don't know this. You had to have 7 appointments.
Yes.
And for tenants, that can be incredibly annoying. But because of the type of landlord you are, I bet they handled it just fine.
Yeah, no, they were honestly great. A lot of times they weren't even there. They were just like, yeah, you guys can just go in. It's open and available for you guys. And anytime, we did at the end of it, we did give them like a little like goodie basket, just being like thankful that you guys were allowing us to, kind of invade your space so frequently. But yeah, no, they handled it great.
See, but that was a small gesture, that goodie basket, and then just plenty of open communication.
Yes.
Though I feel like that is just so simple. Like, so many landlords just overlook that, but because you did that, it's what we teach to an extent, but that's why the tenants had such a great experience with something that most people complain about and they post about, like, oh, my landlord's the worst. Yeah. But like, you handled it so well that was a really great example.
Yeah, and I mean, that's something that we have told them from the start. We're going to be open and honest with you guys. If there's an issue, we're going to communicate it to you guys immediately and let you know, and we'll try to resolve this together.
And just one note too, something you don't realize is when you have problems with the rental property, it's actually not common for tenants to want you to go in the house unless they are there.
Yeah.
So that just speaks volumes to how you've done, the fact that they let you go in when they're not home.
I think that relationship's kind of been formed over the first few months, because it was just small things that, like, they had an issue with their washer that we provided. And so I went in there and I just had to replace like a part real quick. And then I installed a fire extinguisher for them. They know that I tend to fool around with some tools and stuff in the garage.
I didn't know you were so handy.
Yeah, and so they had me hang like some mirrors for them. They had me hang some pictures for them, whatever, whatnot. And I think just through doing those small gestures it kind of built that trust between us, and they are totally fine with if there's anything wrong and they're not home, they're like, yeah, please go down and try to resolve it.
As long as you keep inviting them to dinner, they're cool with
it.
Okay, we might dive back into that a little more. So our next question for you is, now that you're a first-time homeowner, do you feel like house hacking is the future of affordable housing?
I think absolutely. I mean, in the case of me and my wife, we are able to have twice the amount of house, that we would have been able to afford just through house hacking. And it honestly, in looking at some of the other properties that we were looking at that didn't have an ADU, like I feel like our property is even better than even the just the space that we own and that we are living in is better than a lot of the other properties that had no ADU. I think absolutely with the ability that Utah, especially with having like so many basements and everything like that, I think it definitely provides like a real possibility to do house hacking throughout the state.
So not just affordable, but getting more than you thought you could.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, like I said, we've got double the house, and we've got a rather large front yard and backyard because of it. And when it comes time to sell, we're just going to have even more equity gained because of it. Yeah.
You have a very well designed house hack.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful.
Yeah, we looked very hard for it. So with that being said, what would you say is one, because now you've been there since February, you've kind of been able to see almost a full revolution of everything. What would you say is like one of the hidden benefits of house hacking? Like one that people maybe don't talk about all the time?
I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm a little biased because our tenants are really great. But we've had the ability to ask them to water our garden while we've been gone.
That's awesome.
They've been stoked about it. One of our tenants, she walks dogs and she does dog sitting on the side from her job. And we've had her watch our dog while we've gone on vacation before. Like,
That's such a dream.
It is. It really
as
is.
a dog owner.
That's why I say it's probably not like most landlords and tenants relationships, but yeah, we seriously like scored with our tenants.
Man, that's crazy. So for someone who wants to house hack for the first time, what advice would you give them?
Someone wants to house hack for the first time, I would definitely recommend putting effort into finding the right tenants, somebody that meshes with them, that it feels like they can cooperate and communicate effectively. We got a lot of interest in our ADU for sure, and we did actually sit down together and talk about each tenant and try to figure out which one was going to be best for our lifestyle, what we were planning on in the future. Who we felt like was going to be best accommodated in our ADU.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point too, because a lot of people say like, well, I need to look at their credit score, income, and background. You know, like for example, I know with like my parents, they want a hermit to live in their basement.
Yeah.
That's how they describe it. But what does that look like in reality? So it's so smart to be like, what am I actually looking for outside of a core criteria? Because you are sharing walls and you will have a relationship with them, and you want to make sure it's a great one.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's kind of what we figured. We figured because our entrance is through our backyard and stuff, we're going to contact them. It's kind of impossible for us to not kind of bump into each other every once in a while. And we wanted somebody that we were going to enjoy living with as well. So
not some grumpy old hermit. Huh?
Yeah.
Those hermits rarely come out, man. They stay in the basement and don't come out.
No, it's actually funny because my favorite tenant experience that I've ever had is it was actually my very, very first tenants that I've ever managed. Yeah. They were living in my basement, but they were landlords themselves. They owned a few properties out of state and they moved back to Utah, and they're like, before we decide what we want to buy, we're just going to rent.
Right. Okay.
So like they paid early. They paid, it was amazing. Yeah. They were on top of everything. Like everything from a landlord's eyes, they took care of. Like I would hear them vacuuming like probably 2-3 times a week. Like they were keeping it clean. I went down there and I'm like, this literally looks like nobody's lived in it for a whole year.
Yeah.
Like there was no paint defects. There was nothing. I was just walking around. I'm like, wow.
That's
you could
awesome.
Live here forever. Yeah.
Like, I still remember when you were placing them. I was telling Justin, like, this is not normal, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, it's not often to have tenants that have been landlords, so enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, and I did. I've thought about calling and being like, hey, you want to move back? Like, well, we can make this a permanent thing, please. But, no, it's been great, though.
Yeah, so let's, I'm curious to know a little more about all the house hacks you looked at. And finding the right one. So how did you know that was the one compared to all the other ones?
You know, so I can't remember. How many did we look at, Justin? We looked at maybe 3 before we got to that one.
I think ones with basement apartments, we only looked at 3. There was a
yeah.
few, there was a few that we looked at that weren't house hacks.
Yes.
And we learned very quickly that that's not what you were.
Yeah. So we looked at a few that weren't house hacks, and we looked at a few that did have some basement apartments. I think location was a bit of a struggle for us. My wife works in Park City, so it's some of the locations it was almost an hour drive for her to work, and so that was just not something that we wanted. There was, I think, one other location that we were really interested in, but it did require quite a bit of work. Like we were going to have to put in. I mean, we were probably going to be in construction for at least a few months.
Was it the heart of Salt Lake City, somewhere near there?
No,
it was such a freaking cool house.
It was so cool. It was so cool. I mean,
it had 2 basements.
Yep.
So it looked like a rambler
like
from
a
the
split
front.
level?
No, it was like a rambler from the front, but because it was on such a steep hill, they had a full basement and then another full basement with a walkout, separate garage for parking,
separate driveway, everything.
Crazy.
It was insane. I'd never seen anything like that, and I was like, wow, this is cool. But it would have required quite a bit of work.
To build on that, it was almost it was like a 4,500 square foot house.
Yeah.
Oh, that's huge.
3 bedrooms.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like it was the amount of walls and things that we would
yeah.
have to move around to make it work would have just been so crazy. But we were talking, I think the top half of the house and the bottom half of the house in total, we would have like 7 bedrooms and we'd have a bunch of bathrooms and full kitchens. Like it would have been a wonderful one. It's just, gosh, that would have been,
It would have been for a first home. It would have been
overwhelming.
It'd have been a lot. And I actually, funny enough, I didn't even lay eyes on our house at all. My wife was the one that went and toured it with my mom.
That's a good point. I forgot all about that. You weren't even there.
With my mom and her mom, and then she texted me and she said, "This is the one." And I said, "Okay."
Because if I remember right, you weren't even. Oh no, you did go to the inspection walkthrough.
I did go to the
you did see
inspection
that part.
walkthrough. That was when I,
Shoot,
but at
an
that
offer
point,
made without even seeing.
We were under
That's the
contract.
thing.
We were moving forward.
She was
crazy.
She was so confident it was the one. I trust my mom's word. She's done the house hack thing before. She's owned multiple homes. Her mom also is very well versed.
I was about to say, what about the mother-in-law?
So no, she's very well versed in all of this as well. So like I trusted their opinions. My wife was like, I really like this one a lot. So I was like, let's go with it. And then sure enough, I showed up on during the inspection phase, and I was like, this is a great house. I mean, the inside was incredible. It was all redone. The outside took some work, but as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I can handle just about all of that. And they did the expensive part, which is all the inside stuff,
100%. Yeah. Honestly, they got such a good one. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you bring up a good point, though. When you want to house hack, the concept, it is really cool, but you do have to see different versions of house hacks to know what will work for you, because you could have done the large project, but very intimidating as a first-time home buyer. But after seeing a few, you finally saw the one. That's how I felt with my Tesla. Once I saw it, I was like, that is the one for me. So definitely works that way with housing too.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so it definitely took us a few iterations to kind of go through and find one that we're like, I like this.
Yeah.
Now, one question I'll ask you, because a lot of people that I work with, what they keep going back to is when I tell them, hey, let's house hack, they're like, this isn't my forever home. That's not like my dream home. And I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
Of course not. It's your first home. So how did you measure if this home was still the right one, knowing that obviously it's not like a forever home?
Yeah, I mean, really the way that I've seen it, but I guess this is just kind of who I am at a core. I've always invested my money since I was young. I got interest in the stock market and things along those lines. And the way that I see it is that we're just investing this home to hopefully build up enough equity where we can then go maybe buy a second house and then build up more equity there and then go buy a dream house. I see this as a step in the road of building up capital in order to buy our dream house.
And if Jess is going to keep working in Park City, you'll need to save up a lot to buy something there.
I can get you a $700,000 townhome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Brennan, thank you so much for coming out and talking about house hacks and just letting us know more about your story. It provides us a lot of really good background, and obviously people who watch this, they want to see real live humans that do it, and not just people who are like, oh, well, we do it and we love it, you know? So thank you for your insights, and thank you for your time.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys.
You're natural. Good job.